Hello, dear students. Today we are going to start a new chapter of geography section. That is chapter number 3, Changing Face of the Earth. Students, the surface of the earth can be called as about 4,600 million years old. Since its creation, it has undergone several phases of changes at a regular interval of several million years and will continue likewise in the future as well. Talking about the evolution of the continents, Alfred Wegener's theory of continental drift proved that millions of years ago all the continents were joined in a supercontinent which he called as Pangaea. Due to the movements of the lithospheric plates, the supercontinent broke into large land masses that drifted away. The big land masses became continents and water collected between these land masses to form oceans. Now, the lithosphere consists of number of plates called lithospheric plates or the tectonic plates. The circular movement of the molten magma inside the earth caused the tectonic plates to move slowly. The earth's movement can be categorized into two types based on the force that initiates this movement, and the two types of the movements are endogenic and the exogenic forces. Now let us study about the two forces. Now endogenic forces, the force that act in the interior of the earth are called as endogenic, as endo means inside. So this process are responsible for the formation of mountains. There are many types of mountains like fold mountains, block mountains, volcanic mountains. So what is fold mountains? Fold mountains are formed by squeezing up of the earth's crust due to the compressional force from the opposite sides like Himalayas in Asia and Alps in the Europe. These are the examples of fold mountains. Now the next one, block mountains, they are formed by the faults and the cracks on the earth's surface. And volcanic mountains are formed by the volcanic eruptions. Other landforms are formed by the upliftment of land. Endogenic forces can be sudden or diastrophic. Sudden endogenic movements may result in the natural disasters like earthquake, eruptions of volcanoes, and landslides. Diastrophic forces refers to the force generated by the movement of the solid material of the earth's crust. What do you mean by sudden forces? The quick and the unexpected movement of the earth's crust is known as the sudden force. This causes sudden changes and vibrations which results in crustal deformations and sometimes loss of life and property too. The two main sudden forces are volcanoes and earthquake. So let us talk about volcanoes first. An opening in the earth's crust that allows the hot molten lava, ash, and gases to escape from below the surface is called a volcano. Lava is molten rocks or magma coming out from the magma chamber through a vent, which is located in the middle of the volcanic mountain and connected to a pool of lava under the earth's surface. With time, the lava and ash flow out of the magma chamber, cools down, solidify, and accumulate in layers, forming a volcano. As we all know, the earth is composed of three layers: crust, mantle, and core. The mantle consists of magma and on which the lithospheric plates move. Raise in temperature and pressure force the magma to flow out through an opening in the earth's surface as lava in a volcanic eruption. The tectonic motion that cause earthquake also cause volcanic eruption. So students, on the basis of frequency of eruptions, the volcanoes are categorized into three types. The first one is active volcano, the second one is dormant volcano, and the third one is extinct volcano. Now, what is active volcano? Active volcanoes are those that erupt regularly. volcano that has erupted in the recent period of time. An active volcano can erupt at any time. In the basin of Pacific Ocean lies a belt of active volcano. This area is also known as Pacific Ring of Fire. The Mauna Loa in Hawaii Island is the world's largest volcano. It is about 6 miles tall from the sea. Volcanoes which have not erupted for many years but have the potential to erupt again are called as dormant volcanoes. While the volcano which have not erupted in thousands of years and have shown no signs of doing so in the future too are called as extinct volcanoes. All the eruptions are presumed to have ended, and these are considered to be the most stable part of the earth and are also known as the storehouse of minerals. Volcanoes further are categorized according to the shape as well. Uh, these things are not given in your textbook, but it is only for your general information. So volcanoes can be further categorized according to the shape as well. And the categories are shield volcanoes, cinder cone volcanoes, and composite volcanoes. A shield volcano is very broad with large base and is common in oceanic areas. Like I said, Loa is an example of shield volcano. A cinder cone volcano has steeply sloped sides made up of layers of ash and loose rocks, and a composite volcano is made up of strata or layers. These layers are formed when the cinders and ash pile on the top of each other and lava flows on the top of the pile. It cools and hardens to form a layer, and during next eruption, the process of layer formation begins again. Now, talking about earthquake. And earthquake is a sudden shaking and trembling of the earth. This shaking and trembling cause the movement of the series of shock waves on the earth's surface. Earthquakes are caused by the sudden breaking and movement of the tectonic plates of the earth's rocky outermost crust. Earthquakes typically occurs on plate boundaries. Every earthquake has a focus and an epicenter. The epicenter of an earthquake is the location on the earth's surface where the damage from an earthquake is the maximum. The point of origin of an earthquake is its focus. The earthquake results in a series of shock waves on the earth's surface. These shock waves are also called as seismic waves. A seismograph records the vibration of the seismic waves caused by an earthquake. There are three types of earthquake waves or seismic waves: P waves or longitudinal waves, S waves or transverse waves, L waves or the surface waves. The Richter scale is used to measure the intensity of the earthquake. The earthquake are measured from 0 to 9 on it. The increase of every 1 unit of the scale causes a tenfold increase in the intensity of the earthquake. The highest ever reported intensity of the earthquake on the Richter scale was 9.5. The short description of the different types of waves is given in your textbook on page number 124. As I said, P waves and S waves and L waves. P waves are the fastest moving waves that moves in the backward and forward directions and are the first to reach the surface of the earth when they are recorded by the earthquake recording stations. They can travel in any medium. In the same way, the S waves are the second waves to reach the station. Their movement is similar to the movement of a snake. These cannot travel through liquid and produce a strong shaking action which can cause damage. And L waves are produced by the integration of the P and the S waves. This originates from the epicenter and cause the maximum damage. They move like C waves and are the slowest one. Now coming to the point of tsunami. Tsunami is a Japanese word meaning destructive tidal wave, but actually it is a seismic sea wave caused by an earthquake occurring on the ocean floor. It can also be triggered by volcanic eruption. It causes huge displacement of ocean water that leads to the great loss of life and property on the seashore. Now, earthquake and volcanoes are distributed all over the world, especially on the coastline and along the tectonic boundaries. On the coastline, it is around the Pacific Ocean, along the Indo Australian plate boundary, eastern side of Eurasian plate, western side of North American plate, and along the tectonic boundaries, the Pacific ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean across the North and the South Atlantic Ocean. Now, coming to the next type of force, that is exogenic force. Now, exogenic force can take the form of weathering, erosion, and deposition. Now, the process that works on the surface of the earth are called as exogenic process. This process is responsible for weathering or breaking down of rocks into smaller fragments, and erosion in which the rock fragments are being worn away and transported by running water, wind, and glacier. Glaciers are found in snow-capped mountain range at greater heights and are basically rivers of ice. The glaciers pick up and carry soil and loose stones along with ice, which exposes the solid rock below. The forced movement of these materials with the glacier cause deep scratches and large holes to be carved in the bed rock. As the ice melts, these holes get filled with water and form picturesque lakes in the mountainside. When the materials carried by the glacier get deposited, they accumulate and form glacial moraines. Wind blowing in the desert carries and deposit sand from one place to another in the form of low hill-like structure called sand dunes, mushroom rocks. Wind carrying heavy thick grains grind against the lower section of the rock, while the upper portion of these rocks are less exposed to erosion and remain white. The erosion hence give it to a shape resembling just like a mushroom. When the sand grains are very fine and light, the wind carries it over very long distance. When such sand is deposited in large areas, it is called as Lewis. Now, all the process of weathering, erosion, and deposition through the atmospheric contact create changes in the landforms of the Earth's surface. The agent of the change, which forms different landforms on the Earth's surface, are described below. First one is work of running water. It flows in streams and rivers as per the slope of the land. So, it is characterized by velocity, volume, nature of the rocks, and the load of the rock debris is called as sediments. Running water in the form of rivers and streams are the landforms on the surface of the earth. A river follows in three stages in its course from sources to the mouth, and the three stages are youthful, mature, and the old stage. The youthful stage is the upper course which originates from its source like hilly areas, and the mature stage is known as the middle course. The velocity of the water decreases in this course. As a result, it sheds some of its sediments. The old stage is the lower course of the river. The flow of water is sluggish, or we can say slow, as it approaches to the sea. The river seems to break up into number of streamlets, and due to slow flow, the sediments get deposited at the mouth of the river and create a triangular piece of land called as delta. In the youthful stage, the river performs three processes of transportation, erosion, and deposition. The rate of erosion is highest in this stage. Landforms like canyons, waterfall, rapids, and V-shaped valleys are found. In the mature stage, the river twists and turns, forming large loops and bonds called as minders. When the minder loops cut off from the river and form a cut-off lake, it is called as oxbow lake. During rainy season, river overflow its bank, leading to the deposition and formation of flat, fertile land called flood plains. It is generally an extensive area. The raised bank on the either side of the river are called leaves. Now the next one is work of groundwater. The water that seep the underground is the most powerful source of erosion and deposition. The power of groundwater can be seen in such landforms called as caverns and potholes. If the water is slightly acidic and it enters it seeps the underground through limestone region, it dissolves the rock and make stalagmites region. It dissolves the rocks and make stalactites and stalagmites. These are the rocks made by this acidic water hanging from above the caves, and it is similar to stalactites but rises from the cave floor. Now, work of sea waves. Waves are ripple in the ocean. Landforms such as hollow outs on the sea coast are called sea caves. When these cavities become bigger, sea arcs are found. Sometimes the force of water height breaks down the roof of the caves and leftover parts called as stacks. When the steep rocky coast rises vertically above the water through weathering or erosion, a sea cliff is formed. Now, from a work of the ice, a mass of ice moving down a valley is called as glacier. I have already explained about glacier. There are two main types of glacier, that is mountain and continental. Mountain glacier are found on high altitudes. Continental are found in the polar regions and the Greenland. Both the type of glacier moves and are driven as a result of gravity. The speed is very slow. It is through that movement that the glacier bulldozes the surface of the earth over which it moves. With great pressure and weight, glacier performs erosion by plucking, grinding, and deposition by melting actions respectively. When the glacier deposits the sediments, glacier moraines are formed. Now the last one is work of the wind. The most important agent of erosion in desert and sea coast as well as in the arid region is moving wind. Winds become active agent when the particles are carried by them. The most active landform of grinding actions of wind is the mushroom rock seen in the desert region. When the wind faces obstacles like hill rocks, or any raised grounds, they deposit their load and result in building structures like sand dunes. When sand is deposited in the large areas, a plain so covered with sand is called as loose plain. So this was all about this lesson. Please read the lesson from your textbook. The answers will be given in the WhatsApp group chat. Copy it down. Thank you so much.